Well, welcome everybody. I hope you're having a good week so far. Today, our demo and loan meeting is our favorite or new devices in our demo and loan inventories. And we usually try to do this at least about once a year to kind of check in with everybody to see what new devices they've got, or if they have favorite devices that they've included in their inventory. And so that's one of the things that we wanted to do today. So for a couple of things, so what we wanted to do is we'll have a few programs that have shared some of their new devices or favorite devices to kind of prime the pump a little bit, to talk about 2 or 3 devices that they've put into their inventories. And then we'll kind of open it up to everybody else, and we'd like you to share new devices that you've got in your inventories that you think some other states might be interested in, possibly including in theirs. And when you're talking about devices, if you do know that just the approximate cost of the devices, then let us know that. And then also share any discounts. If you've been able to work out a discount or some type of cost decrease that you've been able to attain, share that too. And then we want to talk a little bit about, after that, just kind of talk about other device demo or loan issues or opportunities that you've had in your programs. Certainly, I know one of them that's been mentioned is the cost of shipping devices if you ship your devices through your demonstration loan program. So just a few reminders to see the captions. Of course, click on the CC button on the control panel. If you do have any questions, enter those questions or comments in the chat window, and Dave is going to help monitor those. If you're talking about a device, if you come on, remember to state your name and the name of your program, so that we'll get that on the recording and get it, the captioner can get it. And then, like I said, if you do know the approximate cost of the device you're talking about, definitely please share that. And when we will be sending out a post-webinar survey, and if you do have other devices in your inventory that you want to share, or other demo or loan issues that you want to ask about, please share those also. And we will try to capture every device that's mentioned and try to get the websites that are mentioned during today and share those with everybody that's registered for the session. So with that, I want to see Scout Mary in Missouri. Are you on? Would you mind just kind of touching on a couple of these devices that you've mentioned?
Yep. All right. Yeah, when Marty asked about what we can go back to Missouri, what new devices are out there, I was kind of excited, and I will freely admit I don't have a Pixie Pal yet, but I saw this at ATIA, and I just think it's just kind of an interesting low-tech AAC device. You know, all it is a holder. I don't know if you want me to pull it up or anything. I can share my screen, unless you want me to just talk about it.
You just talk about it for now.
Okay,
if we have time, we'll go back and.
Yeah. So you just slip some pictures in there, and it seals. It's waterproof. There's, you know, in the promo they have a kid burying it in the sand. You know, it's just a low-tech grab-and-go device, but it looks kind of fun. It's only 150 bucks. The rep is offering us one for free, which is always nice. So, you know, if anybody's interested in that, reach out to the U.S. rep. Her name is Brandy Wetland, I think, and you might be able to get one if, you know, for your lending library. The device is called the Pixie Pal, just like on the screen. And it's only 3 pages, you know, but it's just a quick little quick little thing. And Marty had asked about good deals. So we had gotten a really good deal on, we needed to upgrade our Nova Chats, and the rep just gave us a super good deal. We purchased 7, and the whole thing was just over 17,000. So they were pretty much $2,500 a piece. But it was just a really good deal for us. And that was just vendor pricing, or eval center pricing that we got from PRC Saltillo. So the last one, we don't have one yet, but a bunch of us logged on to a session with folks from 6 Degrees. And it is a wearable that allows you to access any smart device. So one of the really cool things is if there's a tremor, it kind of takes out that movement and then can do some can still track the movement that is going for the access. So it's got some really cool possibilities there. They show it, of course, on a wrist. It's like a watch, but they can also put it on an upper extremity, like if there's somebody with an amputation. They can even put it on a leg. So it is just cool. And if you haven't seen it, I really recommend checking it out. I'm very hopeful that we will have one here in the near future. So, I mean, I have lots of favorites, but I think that's my time.
All right, great. Thanks, Scott. You jump down to Angela, Texas.
Good afternoon, y'all. So the first thing there, we had this previously at another facility I was employed at, and we actually sort of got it to help with staff. It didn't quite really get that there was maybe some more application for it. It's designed to teach younger children Braille, but we got it because it was easier to engage with for staff that were less familiar with Braille. And if you follow the link, you can see a picture of it, and they've got videos. And so it's both receptive and expressive, and it comes with some preset like teaching games, and you can download an app and customize some of the things you might do. So, for example, if I was going to learn my name, it auditorily will give me the cue to spell my name, and then the little keys on the top that are blue that pop off, you move the Braille, those little Braille white knobby things go up and down. So you would Braille what your letters would be, and then you put them on the little squares and then hit enter, and then it reads your answer and will tell you if you were correct or incorrect, or, depending on how you set up the parameters, it can give you correction or not give you correction anyway. And then there are games that also, you can see there's a Braille display on the bottom. There are larger Braille cells than probably you eventually want the student to use, but it's just kind of a fun little thing. There's a newer version coming out that will have more customization available. You can do more of your own kind of word lists. And I believe there's going to be some features for doing remote instruction as well. So it's vended by, I think, several of the VI vendors. So I think we got ours from HIMSS because we were already doing a big order with them. And then I think you can get it on Amazon. So it's kind of a lower cost of, it's not cheap, but it's not, some of our things are just way over the top. And then the mouse trapper. So we came across this because I got a cold email from the vendor, who I believe is, I think it's originally out of Israel. I could be wrong on that. It's someplace not US. So then I said, well, do you have a US vendor? And they said, oh yeah, we'd like to send you a sample to try. So it turns out the US vendor, they had an office in California, and they just opened one in Austin. So they wanted to come and tell us all about this mouse trapper, and actually brought a few other things. They have kind of like a lot of ergonomic stuff at this particular office or store, whatever storefront. So they brought that to try. And if you click on that and open it, so it looks like it's about the size of a keyboard, but that little kind of treadmill looking thing in the middle of it. If you only, I meant to put the link in the window. Sorry, I forgot to do that. I can't talk and type at the same time. Too difficult, right? So it's in the chat. It goes this way and this way. So when you're not really scrolling or moving a mouse or moving a trackball, you can move your finger, or you could move the side of your hand, or you could use a mouse stick, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could do that. And then the buttons around the little scrolling interface you can program those buttons to do things. So if you want them to do single click, right click, click and drag, whatever you want them to do. And if you look, they gave us two advanced ones just to have. They just came to us. So that was a deal, right? And then you can see though on their website, there is one with an integrated actual keyboard. And then there's some other variations on that gadget. And it's very intuitive. I mean, it took me like minutes to figure out how to use it. So it's kind of an interesting little gadget. And then the last thing was the iTech had been, okay, they'd been stalking us. They had been for a while. And we'd kind of been putting it off a little bit because it's not really something we've ever got a lot of requests for. They're probably most known for their eye gaze device, but most of the folks in Texas are looking at Dynavox devices and PRC devices pretty much predominantly. So I'm like, well, okay, I'll get one. And so they came out and did their little spiel and showed me their little thing like multiple times. But finally I acquiesced. I was a little anxious for a while too, because I guess they had lost their agreement to use the grid or something. So there was like, well, maybe there won't be good vocabulary in there, but they have actually written their own core vocabulary now. So anyway, when they gave us the quote, they included the iTech, and then basically they kind of have a lower tech tablet only version of a AAC system, and they kind of just included that at a significant discount, and they kept the whole thing under $15,000, which makes a big deal for the university, because that's the cutoff. Once you go over that amount, you have to do a whole lot more paperwork, and it's way more complicated. And then just a tip too, if you can get newer vendors to add themselves to your state buy boards or your entity, whatever your entity is, buy boards, I found that just can make it 1,000 times easier. And then when you share with them, well, if you're on this buy board, school districts can buy from you, and so can Texas Workforce, and so can whatever, then they're rather enthusiastic. And then when they're on that, even if we do go over that $15,000, it's a little bit easier to acquire the tools, even though it's a lot more paperwork. So there you go.
Thanks, Angela.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Molly, you have some recreation devices that you've purchased.
Yeah, this is Molly from Montech, and we got a small grant from Bass Pro Shops in January to update our adaptive recreation equipment, which most of it had been purchased in 2010. So in tech years, that's ancient. So there's plenty of new things for us to purchase. And one of them, I'll throw links up in the chat, is this really fun origami kayak. And it folds up into a box and it only weighs about 25 pounds. And you don't need, it's not like the inflatable kayaks that you have to pump the air into, which is a lot of work. It just unfolds in about 5 minutes of effort and snaps and then folds back up. I just checked their website and they have 2 new options coming out that are even smaller and even lighter. So that's really exciting, but we wanted to certainly purchase items for recreation that would be shippable across the state so that people wouldn't have to drive to come and pick it up. So this was a really, really fun one to purchase. And along with that, we did end up getting some paddle adaptations as well. And I'll just throw them up here from Creating Ability. They had some really nice accessories so that we have some options for folks for different adaptations for paddling with that origami kayak. And then Flag House has the Overcomer. I don't know if anybody has had a chance to play with this, but it is just a blast. All of our PTs across the state are really excited to get their hands on this summer, but it has an attachment for all sorts of different sports paddles. So I think it has a tennis racket and a lacrosse stick and a hockey stick and, you know, obviously a baseball bat and a golf club. And it just uses this little handle. The kids push the handle instead of connecting with the actual sport equipment. And it has a really sturdy base, and it's going to be a lot of fun to play with. So we're hosting a field day next Friday with I think we bought about 30 different items. So we're bringing them all out to the park and going to play with them. So stay tuned for pictures from that. But Flag House Overcomer, that was, and I forgot to mention the price on the kayak. The kayak was about $1,200, but the new one's coming out, the smallest, lightest one, it looks like it's only $600. So that's really pretty affordable for a piece of equipment like that. This Overcomer is $825 plus some accessories. So definitely, you know, an investment for this type of thing, but I think we'll get a ton of use out of it. And then the last thing was one that we were able to get a really nice discount from. The company is called RexFly. And when our staff talked to the owner, he was really excited to hear from us. He asked for information about connecting with other AT programs. He created a system, a harness for fishing poles so that people can fish one-handed. And the nice thing about his company is he has an option for both fly fishing and spinning rods. So we were able to purchase both of those. And we haven't exactly gotten to play with that one yet. It's still warming up over here in Montana. So we'll get out on the water soon and be able to play with that. But it's such a big upgrade for our inventory because a lot of our one-handed fishing equipment was very, very outdated. And some of it was quite dangerous, actually. But the casting system for the fly rod system was only $90. So very, very, very affordable. And I think will be an easy product to promote. So we bought a lot of fun stuff with this grant, things to upgrade our hunting equipment, a couple things for hiking and camping, a lot of things for swimming that we just didn't have, and a few just random items to kind of round out our adaptive recreation category. So it was really fun to make all these purchases. I'm happy to answer any questions about anything else we have.
Molly, I think you can take us all with you to demo that equipment.
Next Friday, Missoula, Montana. See you all there.
We'll be there. And then Denise, are you there in Maryland? You had a few.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just can I say how cool it always is to hear Montana stuff, though? I have to say, they're always like the fun, the more than fun stuff. I have some cool stuff, but that's like extra special fun with all that kind of stuff. So we have a few things here. Some of these you might have already heard of. So the liftware level is newer than the Steady. The Steady has that gyroscope built in. The liftware level is the one that's got that little articulated piece to it. So no matter where the individual twists their hand, they're keeping the spoon or fork level to their mouth. So that's really cool. That's $195 typically for the starter set, which is your base, your charger, and then I believe a spoon comes with that one. And the OB feeding machine is a little bit pricier, but it's gone over really well here. We did have already sterilized the feeding items. You pop, the spoon pops off and the tray itself that has the food in it are dishwasher safe. So the rest of it's a machine, but the actual pieces that touch the food are both dishwasher safe, which I like to hear about anything. What this device is, it's around $6,000. We got it a little bit half that price. And when I'm done, I'll talk a little bit about some discounts that we might be able to get and share with everybody else as well. But it's a really cool machine where it's got a little handle to it. He bows to you when you turn it on, which is kind of cool. And then the spoon can reach into one little unit and feed the individual. You set it to whatever your height is. So it's at the correct height. So you're not reaching, leaning over or having to put your body in a weird positioning. It will actually come up to your mouth. They're both switch activated. So we've had somebody just borrow it last week who's an OT student, used for someone who has no arm or movement at all. So he put two of the switches were up on his head rest. So one switch hit for him to be able to scoop, put it in his mouth. The second switch is to hit to rotate around to the four. There's 4 different areas in there. And they did actually like chicken McNuggets and French fries. They barely cut the French fries up at all, they said, but it really, really worked well. Again, it's just really great. The person who borrowed that, I think his father was there and just said his quote was that he got his hands back, which, you know, we always think about the end user, but think about these folks who are also assisting the individual, that now dad has his hands back to be able to do lots of other things that his son can now feed himself as well. The Snow 12 magnifier by ZoomX, it's one of the bigger ones, 12 inches diagonally. I think for the price, it's pretty good bang for your buck. It's around $1,300 or a little bit less, but it's got a very nice screen, but it also has OCR. And I don't know of any other ones that are that good size, pretty portable with a stand that also has that OCR built into it. And then last is the OrCams, and you probably have seen these. They keep, you know, one-upping themselves on these. So the OrCam Read is a little device about the size of a thick magic marker, not quite as long, that you can hold up and take a picture of whatever text you're looking at, and then it reads out text. So basically it's a little mini OCR machine. And then there's the OrCam Read, which goes onto a pair of glasses. Whether you wear them or not, you can get a glasses frame and it just magnetically attaches there. They both have earbud places where you can actually put your earbud in, or they can speak quietly kind of into your ear. The newer ones that are either called the Pro or the, what's the other one called? The Smart, depending on which one that we're looking at, can also do facial recognition and a lot of other recognition. So it's not just OCR, which is really kind of cool. Their prices run between $1,700 and $3,400, depending on which version you get and whether it's the Read or whether it's the My Eye. We get a lot of our devices through AT Discount Sales and Services. This is a local distributor of a lot of the different devices, and she's been doing this for us for over 20 years, working with the school systems in Maryland. And because she buys for the school systems, a lot of these folks will give her a good discount. And so she doesn't, you don't have to be a school system. And I was just checking, you don't even have to be in Maryland as well. She deals with other states. But basically you can contact her for a quote. And for us, I know that I know someone else talked about having a maximum amount of a quote. It pretty much, if we buy anything over $900, we have to get 3 quotes for here for the state. And so she's glad to give you a quote, even, and she understands she's not always the lowest price, but it's great to have that. Oh yeah, I'll plug it in there for sure. It's great to have that information so you can then compare her quote to a few other ones as well. So she's, I can't talk and do the same time, but I will do this. So yeah, she's great to deal with. And you can look up her site, which I'll give you right here in a second, and look at, get a price catalog from her as well as any other information. And I'd be glad to answer any questions afterwards as well.
Great. Thanks a lot. And Shelby, you had a couple of very cool devices.
Yes. Here in Oklahoma, we also ordered, I was just going to mention, the 6 degrees, and I just got 6 of them in like a week or 2 ago. And we are meeting with them Monday to actually be trained how, using them. And so several staff will be looking and trying the 6 degrees. So we're excited to try those.
I'm on a Zoom call. So can you call me back in 1 hour, please?
So we received the TD pilots, the eye gaze for iPads. And we got those probably a couple months ago, and they seem really cool. We've only loaned it once. We had our rep out to come and show us and kind of teach our SLP about them. We did, so the retail cost I think is about $14,845. We ended up spending $10,994, so we saved over $4,000. But we did it by buying the base only. and then purchasing the iPads through our tech here at the university. And so it was cheaper that way. And, you know, they allow, you know, eye gaze for the iPad, and it's the large iPad. And then you can use any apps that are on the iPad with the eye gaze. So we're excited about that, to have people try those out. And that's Toby Dynabox. So that was that one. And then we just received last week the new Echo 2 pins. We've been on a waiting list on Amazon, and they finally released them, and we received them. And we also had gotten the Symphonies pins too, but the difference really with the Echo 2, it has a record button on it, so you can actually record on the Echo 2, and you don't have to have the notebook. And so that makes it a little bit easier. And then you can integrate it into the app. But, you know, overall, just using the the notebook and handwriting, and that'll turn into digital text for you using the app. So we're hoping to get some of those out and let people try those. And then lastly, we got the Cosmo Explorer bundles. And we just had a request from one of our partners that we partner with. They wanted one for their inventory. So we purchased one for them, but we decided we should purchase one for ourselves also. So we purchased that, and basically it was like $650. And it's great for activities with switches. Has a bunch of lights on it, and kind of use switches like wireless. They are Bluetooth switches that work with an iPad, and has lots of activities, games, and stories, reading stuff, and basically lets you explore different activities and following the directions. And so that we have not loaned, it's brand new. So we've just been receiving lots and lots of equipment here at Able Tech, because we are trying to finish up our end of our year, and we've been purchasing quite a bit. So these are 3 big items we've just received, and looking forward to playing with them. Actually 4, since the 6 degrees came. So
Great. Thanks a lot. And is Kelly, are you, or is Amy on?
Can you hear me?
From Michigan?
You're really quiet, Kelly, but I can.
No. Yay, nay.
Yep.
Okay. Did you want to go first, or did you want me to go first, Amy?
It has Tovala first, so go ahead.
Okay. So I have talked about this before briefly, but I just wanted to bring it up again because we just had a good meeting with Tovala. So they are based out of Chicago. It is a smart oven. We did also just get the June oven to try as a comparison, but I am really a fan of the Tovala for many reasons. I experience low vision myself and use VoiceOver on my iPhone. So the app is fully accessible. You can use the oven as a standalone unit. It has 7 different functions. It's about the size of a toaster oven. So it sits on the countertop or wherever the individual would need to put it. It does, in my opinion, it doesn't replace a microwave, but it does a lot. And what's different is it has a meal subscription service that the individual can choose to participate in or not. But when you get the meals come individually packaged, and they have a card with them that you scan the barcode either using the app or the oven itself, And then once you've done the minimal prep, you just put the meal in the oven and press the start button and it automatically cooks it. So for myself, once I scan the card, the prep steps come up and VoiceOver reads them just fine. And so I follow the instructions, thinking of also individuals who are part of the IDD population, having instructions read out can be super helpful, I think. So the oven, when you get the subscription, the food subscription service, and that's 6 weeks of meals within a 6-month time, the oven is $100. The maximum price of the oven, if you don't get the meal subscription service, is $300. So we just met with Tovala and they have agreed for our program, for folks that want to try it but don't necessarily want to do the meal subscription right out of the gate, we are able to purchase them for the $100 price. So I love it. I think it's great. So, and the food is really, really good. So that's my take on the Tovala. And then Amy has some other stuff that we just got too.
We recently did training on AT for parenting. So we've gotten some devices for AT for parenting. And one is the Arms Reach Co-Sleeper. And there's a great video about it on the Brandeis University Resource Center for People with Disabilities about a mom and her use of it to just keep her baby close to her for the nighttime feedings and things like that. But it can butt up right to your bed. It's not one of the recently recalled items. It's not an incline sleep or anything like that. And they have several different models, but they're in the $200 ranges. Can just make it really a lot easier to reach your baby and help your baby during the night. There's also from Serene Life, wireless watch for, it's a baby monitor. So it vibrates and it has a night vision camera. So it can be really helpful for deaf and hard of hearing parents to check on their babies. And so it's around $95 right now on Amazon. It's cheaper on Amazon than ordering directly from the vendor. And then the final item that we got is the 360-degree swivel car seat from Evenflow. It's an all-in-one car seat and it physically can swivel. So if you're using a chair or other mobility device, it can be easier to get it in and out of your car and to get your baby in and out of it. And that is actually like really expensive for a car seat. It's around the $370 mark. So we're really excited to have that available as a demo so people can try and see if they can actually operate that car seat before investing that kind of money in a car seat. So that's our three of the newer devices we've gotten for AT for parenting.
Great. Thanks, Amy and Kelly. And I'm going to stop sharing to check to see, this would be a good time if anybody has any questions. I haven't checked the chat to see if there's any questions that haven't been answered, but
Marty,
is anybody? Go ahead, Dave.
Most of the questions have been answered in the chat. There's one general question about how the folks who presented sanitize their eating utensils. So if someone would like to respond to that, it would be great.
Dave, this is Angela. I think they answered it in the chat or answered it while they were talking and said that they were dishwasher safe. I thought that like you could pull off the spoon on the one and then The other, they
Correct.
just go in the dishwasher.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, for both of those, yeah, all the pieces that snap off that actually go in somebody's mouth are all dishwasher safe.
Thank you all.
So what about anybody else? Does anybody else want to jump in? Have you purchased anything else that you think is pretty cool or that you'd like to share? Looking around. Don't be shy.
Just
Marty.
oh,
Michelle has her hand raised.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay, go ahead, Michelle.
Hi, this is Michele Boutelle from the Mass Match program in Massachusetts. I run the Easter Seals programs. So there's just a couple things. I've actually met with a couple of vendors as well as Google Ally. So Google Ally is looking to see if the AT programs would be interested in helping them with the voice recognition. And I said I'd kind of talk about it during this meeting to see how we would go about kind of sharing that. It looks like they're paying participants to be able to just do some speech to text, just to be able to improve their software. And the other one is I met with BioWave in Ireland. They actually came to the US a few weeks ago and had done an event, and then came to our AT Center with their adapted gaming device. And they are also looking to reach out to all the AT centers and provide us with a free device to be able to share in our centers. And I will put that into the chat. It's actually a really cool device. It's super adaptable. The thing I really like about it is that they're going to have a way for people to copy the codes that have already been done so that you wouldn't have to do it on your own. But they'd also be willing to do a training if people are interested in that as well. So I just kind of want to let everyone know about those.
That's great. And if there's enough interest, I mean, we do have, our vendor webinars from time to time. If there is a device that people seem to be interested in, we had one earlier this month on the Braze mobility blind spot indicator. So, and we're talking with them too about discounts for programs. So we'll put that in the survey too that we send out to ask folks about if there's particular devices that a lot of people might be interested in as far as having a vendor webinar. Melinda?
Hello. It's kind of hold on, let me pull up the information so I have it accurate. So we're doing a lot of 3D printing in New York, and we've had a lot of, our centers say that, a lot of the printers they're buying are being shipped from out of the country, which is taking a long time, and they were a little nervous about it. One of the ones that we use a lot is Prusa, which is based out of the Czech Republic. They recently acquired a company called Printed Solid, which is based out of Delaware. So now that they are, stateside more so than they were, it's making it a lot easier to get, assistance domestically. So we're hoping that, at least in New York, it's going to make things a little bit more streamlined. And if anybody else is 3D printing or interested in it, Prusa is a really, we've had a lot of success with them. So definitely check them out, and Printed Solid.
Great, thanks. What about Kasey?
Hi, my name's Kasey. I am the trade coordinator. I actually work with Melinda.
Yes, she does.
I missed the first about 10 minutes, so somebody might have talked about it, but I have recently ordered an Abram safety sleeper, and it fits in a suitcase, and it encloses a bed with zippers and everything. So if you have a lift, you can just easily lift the child in and out of the bed. but it is enclosed to keep the child safe. We had quite a few requests for an item such as that, but with how large it is, we weren't able to have it in our loan inventory before. But now that Abram has one that folds up right into a travel suitcase, we're able to, I purchased 2 of them actually. And then another thing that just arrived probably about an hour and a half ago was a mobile stair lift. So it's not something that gets installed. It's a wheelchair that has like these, I don't know how to explain it, but they're like, a really bad way of explaining it is they kind of look like an end of a chainsaw on the back of the wheelchair, and it motors, and it's a motor, so it like goes right up the stairs. And the only thing that another person would just have to hold on to the back to hold it back against the stairs, but the chair does all of the lifting. So it's great for while families are waiting for an EMOD to finish, or for like a temporary, if you have family visiting and there's a couple of stairs in your house, it's like perfect for that. So those are the 2 things that we just got that are pretty cool, that people are excited about.
Very cool. Does anybody else have anything they want to share? What about, are you, in terms of demonstrating your devices or any other ways of marketing them? Angela, you were talking about some things that one of your CILs is doing. Can you touch on that?
Oh, I will. I was so proud of them. So they are in a relatively rural part of Texas, Bryan College Station, where Texas A&M is. And they started doing what they call it an accessibility pop-up. And they engaged event planners in their area and kind of found out who all those kind of entities were and said, hey, call us when you have an event. So like, I don't know, a wine tasting in downtown Bryan or something, for example. And they bring their little pop-up, which has got like literally a little pop-up pavilion. And they do things like they have some loaner wheelchairs, and they have water bowls for assistance dogs, and they'll make a tactile map for the event if they get it to them soon enough. And then they put out all of the brochures and flyers for it's a Center for Independent Living, so their brochures and flyers and our brochures and flyers. And sometimes they bring some gadgets, sometimes they're able to provide interpreters, so that it kind of depends on what the event is and what their needs might be. So it was really the coolest little idea, and they've kind of got it down to the pop-up tent and a box of stuff. So and then if they're bringing wheelchairs or something, that's a little bit more, but they have a van for that. So it was just really kind of a cool application of what we do, and it brought awareness to the community. It provided a service for the event, and the more friends you make in your community, the more friends you make in your community. So I just thought that was a very clever idea.
While you're there, Angela, why don't we talk a little bit about shipping? And a lot of people have been having big issues with the shipping costs have gone through the roof.
Shipping costs have gone through the roof, and they're still not back to pre-pandemic service levels. To give you a little taste of that, yesterday, UPS dropped all of the packages for our entire, we're a research campus north of UT, all of the packages outside of our door on the, like not outside in the building, outside in the outside, like where the squirrels and birds were. And this happened, I think 2 or 3 times now. And so then we have to take them in and call all the places they go. One time it was some kind of, I don't know, secret government samples of something. The people were freaking out that we had this package of theirs. So, and the cost has just gone crazy. So some more adjustments to budgeting are going to be needed to kind of fulfill that need. And I mean, it'll be less gadgets purchased because of it, because I'm not getting rid of my staff. So I don't know how, I don't see that getting fixed necessarily. So there's my whiny, complainy moment for the day, right?
Well, I bet you're not the only one that has that whiny complaint.
Well, we ship everything. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 people a month might come in and pick up something locally because they live in Central Texas, but we ship everything both ways. So it's quite the thing.
And then you pay for the return too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
Yeah. What about anybody else? Anybody else dealing with those same kinds of shipping issues?
I work with Angela and work, I do the shipping and handling, and it's not easy. FedEx sometimes don't pick up, packages. I have like 18 packages waiting right now. Since the pandemic, things have changed a lot. Do you have the same experience in other places? You do? I'm not the only one.
You're definitely not alone. This is Molly in Montana. We also ship everything both ways that's not 20 miles away from Missoula. And we are running into very similar issues. We actually lost our discount with UPS and haven't gotten that back. So we're only using FedEx now, and their site is less accessible, which is kind of a bummer for our person who does our shipping who's low vision. But we are exploring a partnership with our local Lions clubs, and actually a statewide network of Lions clubs. They used to do transport for their vision services. They would bring things from one place to another, and they're looking to get into that again. And so we said, hey, if we had some larger equipment, that's one of our biggest issues, is shipping large equipment. If we had something that needed to go from Missoula to Miles City, 8 hours away, could someone from the Missoula club get it to somebody in the Bozeman club, get it to somebody in the Billings club, and move on? And they're really excited about that. Logistically, it's tricky, but we're working on it, and it would be a low cost alternative. So we're crossing our fingers.
Do they use their own vehicles for that? And what about liability?
They do. So that's one of the things that we're sorting out. I don't have the answer yet.
A lengthy MOU. Okay.
Exactly.
Just seeing the same things in the chat, that more FedEx packages lost in the last year from FedEx than the last 5 years.
This is Denise from Maryland, and so our main office is in Baltimore. We do contract with the SILS, the Centers for Independent Living. A few have small libraries. 2 years ago, we started the reuse program, so high-tech reuse. So it's at a different location still. And where I'm housed here for the reuse program, it is a durable medical loan closet for one of our counties. What they've done is used Neighbor Care or Neighbor Ride, which is a local organization. It's a nonprofit that will take folks, to and from doctor's appointments and so forth. And they're starting to actually get them to transport their DME from place to place. So if someone needs it in their county, they'll be able to pick it up from one spot and drop it off at another. So that might be another option to do just the technology, just lower tech, since it's usually typically smaller than, the wheelchairs and so forth. So that might be another option for a partnership if you have somebody in, Neighbor Care and Neighbor Ride sort of organization that might be able to do that.
Thanks. Clayton.
I just wanted to kind of concur and echo what other people are saying about FedEx and shipping. We've had our loan program for 15 odd years, and we have basically never really had a problem with FedEx as a shipper until the last 6 or 9 months. It seems with COVID, all of their policies in regards to delivery and getting signatures and where they leave devices has just completely gone out of the window. We've actually had 2 or 3 lost devices recently through them, and their investigation process is suspect at best. So right now we're trying to weigh, how we ship with FedEx, Express or Ground, and if we are going to buy the additional insurance that they offer, which is pretty pricey. It's about $49 to cover a $5,000 device. So it would dramatically increase our shipping expenses if we decided to do that.
And then Philip in Vermont says the same thing. Costs are doubled at least. Plus UPS has been flexing their muscles and not agreeing to state contract terms. Misty. I think you might be muted, Misty.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I was saying I concur with everyone's shipping problems. We have things that we ordered in end of October, beginning of November that still haven't arrived. They just keep changing the date. Goes from 6 weeks, and then the day comes and they say, yeah, well, it's going to be another 6 weeks. But one of the things we've experienced is with USPS, with our post office, we have a wonderful mail lady that overshares everything from her bunions to all of the background behind the scenes stuff with the post office. They will scan our packages once they arrive, but it might take them another 2 weeks before they deliver, so that it stops the clock and it shows that it's delivered, but then, so it doesn't reflect back on them on how long it's taking. But then it might take another 2 weeks before we actually get it.
All really good news. Not. Anybody else? You know, that's exactly what we've been hearing, is kind of the same issues, just nationwide.
In New York, luckily, shipping has gotten a lot better in the last, I would say, 6 months. I'm really sorry for every other state. I wasn't going to say anything, but then I thought maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel and it'll kind of shift its way. But I mean, at the beginning of the pandemic, we ordered equipment and it took over a year to arrive. And now I'm ordering equipment and it's here within 4 weeks. And it's such a huge difference that I hope everyone else sees the same soon.
And who are you shipping through?
So I don't personally do the shipping. I believe it's accounting that does. I don't know, to be honest. I know that I think it's just like local post office, but they might use, like, I see UPS boxes here sometimes. I see FedEx boxes here sometimes. So I think it's anybody, but I haven't lost anything yet. Luckily, we pay extra for tracking on absolutely everything that we mail out. So
don't jinx it, Kasey.
Knock on wood.
Anything else as far as either other issues that you're having that you'd kind of like us to explore? Or positive activities, kind of like what Andrea was talking about. Angela.
Marty?
Yeah.
Covenant.
Yeah.
I had a question. I know over the years I've heard different states talk about using their interlibrary network. I don't remember which state, but I've heard it said by more than one, and I'm wondering if that's still happening, and if so, how is that going for delivering devices?
Is anybody using their interlibrary network to ship to send devices? None on the call. Let's see. We're kind of getting toward the top of the hour. So like I mentioned, I want to thank everybody for participating. And like I mentioned, please, we'll send out the survey, and a couple of things we'll ask about is we'll include ask about other, like if there's specific vendor devices you might, or webinars you might be interested in as a group for some of the maybe newer products that are maybe just coming over from Europe, or if there's something that's just kind of getting underway that's brand new, we'd be happy to host a vendor webinar if there's a lot of interest in it. So definitely please fill those out, and we'll go ahead and see what the interest is from there. So again, I want to thank everybody. Really appreciate you being here, and learned a lot about some cool new AT and some older AT that people are getting. And so thanks again, and we will talk with you all later.